Today we're going to work on a panel cutting jig. Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage. You know, as I kind of round out my shop and all the tools that are in the shop, there's a few things that you need to add along the way as you're doing different jobs. One of the things that I've wanted to make for a long time is a panel cutter. So it's something that would fit in my table saw. So right now I have the table saw and then I have my T-square, which is a little plastic thing, and it jiggles around. It's not very accurate, and it's only about this wide, so it's really hard to hold anything square. But if I had a panel cutter that fit in to the grooves, to the alignment grooves, probably both of them, and something like this, you can see a better picture of it up here, and just something that I can fit in those grooves and then set a weird piece that's hard to cut or something at an angle, and then it'll help me guide through the table saw. So I want to do that now, and we'll work on that because the next project that I have is going to require that, and so we'll need that. So let's work on that right now. So I found this old dirty piece of plywood in the shed. It's dirty, but it's like a birch veneer 3/4, and I think this might make a good base. If I clean it up, I'm probably gonna try to true up these edges a little bit. And then if you see the two grooves in here, I want the panel cutter to ride in these two grooves. So I think the first thing to do would be to cut some strips that we can glue to the panel or screw it that will fit in these guides. So let's try to work on that now. I'm going to clean up this panel a little bit. And you know, it was used on a different project. I think this was the bed for the Sienna minivan that we had. And before we sold it, I took it apart. And I want to take this screw out here because I don't want that hitting hitting my saw blade. And so then I think what we're going to do is try to true up a lot of these edges. And then I also noticed that it looked like there was some staples or something, like staple right here and then one over here. I'm going to try to remove those before I do any cutting. So hopefully that's not too hard. Okay, so we'll just take that out. Try to make sure that there's no metal in here. I don't want to have to buy a new blade for my saw. And we'll get this one out as well. So I just kind of dig it out like this. Nothing magic about it. Man, that was a booger. There we go. That'll give me a straight enough edge to run it through the table saw. Trying to get 4 sharp edges. Alright, so now we've got a panel that's about 21 by 20. So I think if we had our panel kind of like this and put some rails along the bottom and then a couple of handles here and here that we can. So I think I've done as much on this piece as I can. It's pretty square and everything. And now I need to start working on these rails. So I found out that these grooves are 650 wide. And I have this piece of maple, which is very, very hard. And it's about 750 wide. So if I just set my fence here and rip this to 650 rather than 750, and then maybe I can cut it down so it'll fit underneath these Then what I think I'm going to do is try to match this profile. Once I get the width right, I think I'm going to match this profile because it kind of needs to stick up here, and then this needs to attach to my panel. And so I think that's what I need to do next. Maybe I can do that with the router table. Let's see. So I took my piece, cut it in half, ran it through the router to just put a little notch here so it would fit, slide in here. Then I lined it up with this right here. Put a line down the center where I want my blade to go. And then line this up. Now I need a couple of grippers. I think something like this would be kind of cool. Maybe I can like 45 it or something. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. These ones have a lot of knots, so I think I might try to go grab a different piece of wood out of the shed. Alright, so that fits there. We'll put that on there and screw that together. That'll give us something to hold, and then I need another piece for the top. Let me go look in the shed and see what I can find. That's pretty cool. Right through the knot. That's neat. Okay, so I think I'm going to put some screws in to hold these pieces on, and then we'll go from there. I'll wait for you there, like a stone. Okay, that's kind of the easy part. I'm not sure what to do from here. Hey, this looks pretty cool. Looks pretty neat. So I'm kind of struggling with how to keep these things aligned while I mount them onto the fixture. I think the best way might be just to keep them in the saw. I'm wondering if that's like a real thing we can do. So I got this all straight. I lined it up with the side of the table, clamped it down. So I know this is straight. It's not going to be pretty much in line with this. It's going to be a bit off, but that's all right. That's right. I'm not going to get bogged down in that. And then if I Okay, so this is the moment of truth. The piece of resistance. It's quite tight. All right, well, I made quite a bit of progress on this um, panel cutting jig. And for those of you who are concerned a little bit about it being on the small side, that was kind of my point, was I sort of wanted this on the smallish side to sort of do unusual cuts on my table saw for smaller pieces. If it's big panels and stuff like that, this is a small table saw. I don't really want to have a big panel jig to do big cuts. I can always do those with my circular saw and a straight edge and things like that. But this is most for those unusual shapes. And let me show you a couple of things that I've done with this. I did a lot of sanding on these ribs to make them fit in the grooves just right. And then I made sure that my screws were down below the surface. And also, if you can see in here, this is up a little bit. I snuck some washers in under there just to get these up a little bit. And it was going okay. It was kind of, sliding back and forth all right. But it wasn't until I took some paste wax, some Minwax paste wax, and I waxed up these runners and the bottom of my jig here, and that's when it really just became nice and slidey. It's really cool. So if I want to put something unusual in here and clamp it down, screw it down, I can screw it to this because this is just, sacrificial wood. And I can do all kinds of cool things with it, and it's small enough where I can stow it away and it's not going to take up much room. All right, so that just about does it for our panel cutting jig. I'm really happy with the way it came out and hope you enjoyed watching this. So we'll see you next time on Scott's Garage. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.